Hello. Before starting today's podcast, I'd like to they're not really sponsors, but I'd like to just point you in the direction of a couple of things. The first one is the Lughole fundraiser that is still currently ongoing. The Lughole is a DIY venue and label out of Sheffield. Birth bands such as Community, Clean Shirts, Sifhead, Skip Lickers, Rotten Love, Night Texan, and a whole host of others I don't currently have in front of me. They are currently trying to fundraise for a new venue, so if you'd like to show them some support, please go to www.gofundme.com/Lughole-II, or if you go to kidsatthelughole.bandcamp.com, you can still currently get some of their bundle deals for £15, which includes 7 inches from Clean Shirts, Community, Detergents, Rotten Love, Skip Lickers, a Lughole patch and a Lughole t-shirt, and that's just for £15. So either go to www.gofundme.com/Lughole-II just to donate whatever amount you wish to Lughole, or if you actually want to pick up some stuff as well, go to kidsatthelughole.bandcamp.com. The other one is local psych label Evil Hoodoo, and if you go to evilhoodoo.bigcartel.com, you can pick up all their latest releases, including the Gill Sweat Ritual Temple Band, Osnok Tambulas, Mugstar, Max Hall, Bottleneck, Hotel Wrecking City Traders, Blown Out, Cosmic Dead, and a whole host of others. Please go and support both of those ventures. They are both worth your time, and it would only take a couple of minutes for both of them. Right, I'll carry on onto the podcast. Tatty bye.
Looking
Hello, welcome to the second episode of Clamcast. I'm going to keep this relatively short because it is bloody sunny and I'm currently having to do this whilst on my way home from work, and I've decided to stop off at Fox House and have a pint, look at the views and talk to you. And I've also had to find my own little bench away from everybody so I don't look like I'm just talking to myself. That's currently what I've done. I'm just looking out really onto Surprise View and I can just see Hope Valley in the distance. But if you ever get the chance after work to pop and just get out into the peaks, it's what you should be doing. I mean, I drive this way most of the time and all I've been doing is just going, I can't wait to just sit and have an hour on my way back from work and just take it all in. We do live in a very nice area. I'm not gonna blow too much smoke up its arse, but it's alright, innit? Anyway, sorry, I said I was going to keep this short. This month's episode is with Tye Die Tapes, with James and Adam. We talk about loads of things over 2 separate interviews. The first part is mainly us talking about the history of tie-dye, gigs, and the old space on Solly Street, and we also talk about Myspace and the connection you used to be able to have between bands, which isn't really there anymore. I mean, there is things like Facebook, obviously, but MySpace was a one-stop shop for pretty much everything that you needed back nearly a decade ago now. There's a few other bits and bobs we talk about, and also their new space, which is a recording studio which they've built and is now pretty much fully functioning. And then the second part of the interview is just us having a bit more of a chat. I should also point out the first interview was done at their new space, so that was a bit more formal. The second one's a bit more informal. I ask a question about leading on from MySpace and just adding on a few bits and bobs, but I'll probably preface that in the middle bit. And then we talk about football injuries and a few other bits and bobs. But I think it's quite interesting, and I think there's a few interesting points made about kind of the future of music and where we reckon it's going to go, and with the use of the internet in comparison to maybe how DIY scenes maybe used to work. But anyway, I'll preface all that in the middle bit. The song you heard coming in was by Sammartino, and it was called The Work. It's currently unreleased, so that's a bit of an exclusive for us. Thank you to Sammartino, who left it in a CDR in a brown bag outside my house. I don't really know how he knows where I live, but anyway, and I think that's about everything you need to know for now, and I will see you in the middle bit, and I'll just leave you. Just 2 quick bits of information which I forgot to put in the intro when I was outside, because I didn't really think about what I was saying. The interview was recorded the same week Marky Smith died, so the first few minutes of the interview is us discussing Marky Smith's death and the fall in general. The other bit is that you will hear two other voices in little areas of the podcast. That's because Simon and Paddy, who play in Boring Men with James and Adam, come into the room after about 20 minutes or something like that, so you will just hear a couple of other voices. I think that's everything I need to tell you. This song leading into this, and what you'll hear throughout, is an Enternal Burgheist song called Over Every Peak. It's James' band and with Liv Wallers and Zeb Budworth, and so that's the music you hear that kind of goes through the interview and finishes it. And if there's any weird cracklings or anything, it's just the room. It's just the things in the room. I think James eats a prawn cracker at some point, which you may or may not hear. consequence of things and people
Oh,
dying.
Marky.
I saw you were listening to the Fall. You converted at roughly the right time where you can express remorse.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was
because,
actually
like 6 months ago, you would have been like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, oh, who's Marky Smith? I only got into the Fall in August.
Really
nice.
I've tried. It's like one of those like bands that I just like tried over. I mean, I saw them in like 2008 at the Pavement ATP. And I was like, this is fucking shit. This is just a pissed man walking around the stage, turning people's amplifiers off because that's what he did.
Amazing.
And like, yeah, I mean, I think had I known because in 2008 I didn't know anything about music, and if I notice me, senpai, if I'd known what the Fall were and who, what it meant and what was going on, then I'd have enjoyed it, but I didn't, and it was a bit boring. But yeah, Adam finally. I think it was my 6th attempt to get into the Fall. Adam finally got me there.
I don't know.
It was Ben Sinister, I think, was the.
I don't think
album
you should
that
have to
did
work that hard to get into a band.
Well, I
think sometimes you have to see a band at that perfect moment, at that perfect time, where it just kind of all comes and clicks together. I was like that with Pavement, where when I listened to Pavement very early on, I was like, no, don't like it, don't like his voice, and just like, and I think like maybe like a summer's day, I heard like Gold Sounds and stuff like that. I was like, I get it, it's all fine.
Yeah,
like,
the context creates it.
Yeah, and
but we I don't know. I've been getting into like more repetitive music.
Yeah,
the Fall is just
it's pretty repetitive.
Yeah. But did you see my funny tweet about it today?
What funny tweet about somebody dying?
I said this is my favourite Fall song, and then it was a link to when he read the scores from.
Oh, it's amazing! On
when he read the football
final score or whatever it is. It's so good.
It just goes on for a lot longer than you think it would. Then it kind of cuts to him, and it's just like Bristol City. No. But it's Marky Smith, not as the usual.
But right, okay, because I need to know about this as well. I did the same with Clam. So, what was essentially the history of Tye Die? So, I knew you guys went to school together.
No.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, okay, let me start that again.
Yeah.
So, tell me about the history of Tye Die.
Yeah, I'm not from Sheffield.
You're not from Leeds either.
I was born in Leeds.
That's James holding up a Leeds Rhino scarf
for those playing along at
anyone listening.
I really hope you would have had one of this Leeds United new
fucking hell, have you seen that?
The new Leeds logo. I love it. It's like
I'm not a Leeds United fan.
It's close to
it's the beginning of a Nazi salute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
I mean, it's the beginning of a lot of things.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's not immediately where I saw it as like kind of.
There's a really good meme where somebody just put a sheep's head like underneath.
Oh, really?
So it's like that, and it just looks like his.
The best one I saw was Aston Villa getting in touch with them and said, "Are you looking forward to April?" They had an advert. It was the Pro Evo West Midlands Village versus Yorkshire White.
It's completely is a Pro Evo logo.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant. In a sort of Kingsley, the mascot of whoever it was.
London 20.
Thistle. Partick Thistle had this mascot. Pretty sure it was.
I thought Kingsley was the 2012 Olympics guy. That was just like a mess of shapes.
No, that's. Oh.
That was
that done by David, whatever his name is?
Shrigley.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it doesn't look like a Shrigley.
Oh. Well, look. Maybe I've got the wrong name.
But
yeah, it's the mascot of some Scottish team, which is like kind of like a spiky sun.
Yes,
like a wonky face, and they actually he drew it, and they actually made the outfit for the mascot and made him stand by the thing.
Was it Della?
Oh, Simon's just.
Was it Jeremy Della who did it?
I don't know. I thought it was David Shrigley.
It might be Shrigley. I can't remember. Those two kind of come into.
I'll let you in. Simon's just outside. Sorry.
Those two people come into the same company because they had both had an exhibition at the same time at South Bank Centre. I was down at London, and Della was a lot better than Shrigley.
I didn't really understand that.
Interesting. get into this properly. Right. So tell me the history of Tye Die. When did you guys get together? What was Sheffield like at the time? And why did you do it?
We met at university. We were both. I was doing a history and politics degree. He was doing a politics degree. And we had our good friend Ben Epworth, who I was on a course with him. We just got talking. We realised we liked all the same music, and I'd like played guitar and stuff, but never properly like been in a band or anything. And Ben played drums, and we kind of like toyed around with starting a band. Nothing really came of it until we met Adam towards the end of our last year, and it was long-haired Adam at that point. It was possibly my favourite Adam.
Metal Adam.
Yeah, Metal Adam. Like beyond Metal Adam though, because you'd not been tainted by me. We kind of just like got talking after like lectures and stuff like that, and then I was like, oh, we want to start a band. And he was like, you play guitar? I was like, do you want to play bass? And then he said, yeah, well, never actually properly joined, just played bass on like a kind of ad hoc level for like 6 years.
As your only bassist.
As the only bassist. But he was 100% in the band, he just didn't like to admit it. But, and then like sometime at that point I started playing in the band in Leeds and started like going around and playing shows and stuff, and I kind of found out about cassette labels and about Suplex Cassettes was like the main one.
Yes, who did like Mel Bonding.
Yeah. Matt then went on to start International Cassette Store Day. He was like an intrinsic part.
Really?
Yeah. He runs a really cool techno label now because everybody goes to techno eventually.
That's techno is the new hipster music completely. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Anyway, Matt isn't a hipster.
Yeah,
Matt's a lovely
I'm starting
guy.
to see it in. You get that like those like one-line PR summaries that come from articles on websites like DIY.com. There we go. That's another dig at someone. Where normally it'll be like when we started it was like lo-fi was in there. Now it's like all of them say techno in it, even if it's like an indie.
Yeah. We used to get lo-fi when me and Bruce started out in 2011.
Yeah.
And we and Bruce weren't lo-fi.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to sound like we were like a two-piece garage band, so we were kind of on-trend for the time.
Yeah.
But we always got lo-fi. Like
it's fucking stupid. We got the Cribs, which was the best one, just because I have a Wakefield accent. I don't go into my accent. So I'd like started playing in bands. I met Matt, and like he released that band that I was playing with on cassette, and I was just like,
was that band Spectrals?
Yeah. So I met Matt through playing in Spectrals, and he was a lovely guy, and I kind of like had loved cassettes as a kid, and was just like, I think I came back from like playing in London, and we had a lecture, and we just got talking, didn't we, about nobody wanted to release any of our band Burgheist stuff, and so we were like, should we just release it ourselves? And it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well my friend Matt runs a cassette label, should we start a cassette label? And then we both said yes at the same time. Ben said yes as well. Ben helped us out really early on. That was it. That was how it started. It was in the collegiate campus,
and it was in the top building,
in the coffee like breakout room. Yeah.
Well, I can remember because I remember doing bits and bobs. Because Bettany, runs Evil Hoodoo. He started out like basically with cassettes of just like I think the first one was Nick Wilden, who lives in Paris, and I've done a good double name drop of people from Bakewell there very quick.
Bakewell boys are back in town.
Yeah. But it was. I remember it was so easy for him to do it because basically he could get from like the printing of the inlay thing to he used to go out to a guy in Stockport.
Alan.
Yes, I think it would have been. I can't remember.
Tape line.
Yeah. And it was just like we did one Bruce and Carl one. It was like 50 tapes, and it was for the price. I can't remember. It was cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
If you dub them yourself, it's insanely cheap.
Yeah.
At some point, I mean, it's gone up quite a bit now. Yeah. But at some point, it was literally costing us less than £1 a unit.
Really?
Yeah, we'd buy.
But we'd print everything ourselves.
Cassettes, print all stuff ourselves.
Like
on
manually
this terrible printer where you had to hold the bit of paper at the right angle to get it to feed.
Stupid.
I
think the best thing we ever did though was when we bought that guillotine. but the one with like the oh no, it was the slidey one. Yeah,
that's absolutely nuts.
It could like slide 4 sheets in one. And 4 sheets
Before we'd been like, you'd line the scissors up.
But didn't we have a drop one? I remember we had a drop one. Yeah, that was awful because that bent the card.
Oh no, that was a bad one. It just didn't work.
So we started out. Our first release was our own band, and we did that just like for something to sell at shows and stuff. And then it was like around the time when MySpace was good, and like you could find like good bands just by going on to listen to someone and who's in their top 8, what bands are they friends with,
and then you go through like it's been like a YouTube kind of like rabbit hole where you just kind of go from one thing to the next.
100%. And then somehow we like got to Cleveland, and like I don't quite.
Well, I feel like maybe that was through. I don't know.
No, I don't. It was just MySpace.
Yeah.
So somehow we got to Cleveland.
That was through Marty, wasn't it?
That was how we met him.
Yeah.
So we just like I think one day like in one of our student houses, just went down a MySpace hole and eventually ended up on this band Ethiopians in Cleveland, and we were like, wow, this is cool, I like this. Dropped him a message, do you want to release some cassettes, we'll ship some to you, because it was dirt cheap to do that at that point. And then we did his tape, and then through him we did some splits with him, didn't we? Marty Barassi now plays in Maholos and runs a record label called Quality Time Records in Cleveland. They're really good. He's a great guy, and we met through him. Then met a woman called Kay Ward who did Que Sera. What's that what it was called? Shiny Penny. Yeah, it was Que Sera before that. Then she did this big like anthology, like it was like an hour long of like just her like Bandcamp recordings.
40 songs.
So garage band recordings. It was like 40 songs. It was brilliant. I was listening to it the other day because I found all the cassettes. I was tidying my room to it, and it was it was really.
It's good.
I think, like, to be honest, in a way, like we say MySpace at that time, it was actually in a way nothing's kind of really replaced it. Of like something which was just like something that's like just everything was in one place. Like now you have like a Facebook, but then you have to like click onto like a Bandcamp or something like that. You know what I mean? You have to like go through quite a few different stages.
And I don't think Bandcamp's got that kind of like searchability.
It doesn't. And it's also like it doesn't have the kind of social interaction that MySpace had. Like if you liked a band on MySpace, so if you like something on Bandcamp, what it's driving you to do is buy something. Whereas if you like to, I'm talking like actually like, not like Facebook like. If you liked a band you heard on MySpace, the first thing you did was send them a message. And then it was like you've opened communications with those people, and you kind of get to know about other stuff. Whereas Bandcamp, it's like a shop front rather than something.
Well, that's one of the problems that we've kind of encountered our entire life as Tye Die, isn't it? Because we one of the main reasons for the venue that we had doing shows as consistently as we did was that us as promoters, we didn't want to be putting gigs on in commercial spaces. We didn't want to be, you have to come to our gig and you have to buy, for it to make it profitable for us, there has to be a certain taking on the bar or anything like that. And we just kind of, I think it's something that Luke Twyman's also talked about with Audacious, is just having like a non-commercial venue for music is quite important, I think.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's also just like the ease of having our own venue meant that we could put on shows.
We could take risks.
Never,
never
have happened.
This is exactly why I've got a clamp now. I've been doing the variety show, and it's just like a really stupid idea. I can remember the opening night. I looked at you and went, I can do anything here. I can actually do anything. Get really excited. But I think that's the one. The freedom of being able to have somewhere where you can do that is quite exciting. At the same time, so you can just actually put on the shows that you want to put on, and
something that's not commercially viable becomes, when you only have to pay bands. It's all right.
Like that first
time, I still lost money on shows. We were paying about £60.
Yeah, like I think. Like that Ed Sheeran show. I don't think many people in Sheffield had heard of Ed Sheeran.
No.
And he played Tye Die. Him and Devlin played Tye Die to 12 people.
Yeah.
And
it was amazing.
It was that was the best show I've ever put on, played, being a part of. He was singing David Bowie, because we had the David Bowie
Yeah.
Euro rug. He was just singing Bowie covers, like just a cappella Bowie covers.
He did like a 20-minute medley.
Yeah, of different Bowie songs. Yeah, and I still think about that gig. And whenever I like see a bit of Bowie news, like I have to like process it through Ed Schrader first. Like I imagine Ed Schrader doing this, or I read it in Ed's voice or something. So yeah.
I think like sometimes they're the best shows though when say especially when it's something that you really want to put on, like still no one turns up. It's just like it kind of in a weird way comes to your own little personal thing.
Yeah, I mean all we had to do was just like pay them. It was fine. Like, you know, I mean, for that level of entertainment, I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy paying for that. I mean, it was probably Adam at the time because I was always skint back then. But, it was Adam. Yeah.
What were your favourite shows at Tye Die? Like the ones you put on?
I mean, that Ed Schrader gig was fantastic. The tram lines, I think the first tram lines we did, where like Omi Pallone played, and it was just like crowd surfing all over the place.
I preferred the quieter. Not quite music-wise ones, but the ones where there weren't that many people there. Because,
true.
Like when there was like 100 people trying to fit into this space that it wasn't capable of.
Maybe edit that. Well, they can't retroactively get you, can they?
I think after the building's been knocked down. I think
Spoiler alert.
And people outside, and we would get complaints sometimes.
But Tramlines Weekend kind of became like a it was like a free pass.
Yeah, it got a bit out of hand towards the end, I think.
Yeah, not quite like that Eagles show. Our very first gig that we ever put on at Tye Die, 3 police vans and the equivalent police officers that it takes to fill up those police vans, and a lady from the council descended on the gig, and we're just like, it was Halloween, and we were all in fancy dress. You had your hair slicked back with olive oil.
And I was like the only one even close to sober enough to like converse with the police, so I was just stood outside like having this negotiation. Yeah,
and we just kept saying it because like we'd done loads of preparation for this. Like we'd read up on the rights of what a private party is, how many people we could have in there, whether we should or should not sell alcohol, which we, from the get-go, we were just like, no alcohol, because that's all that they're looking for when they want to shut down gigs is to see whether you're actually selling beer. And that was what they said to us pretty much. The moment they got in there, they just walked in and said, is there a bar? We said no, obviously. And they walked in, took a sniff, smelt some of the devil's lettuce, and then just walked out. And then the lady said to you, didn't she, Adam? She said, I want you need to you need to get rid of half of the people in here,
right?
And then you can continue the party. She said, get everybody out. So we started kicking people out. So sorry guys, like Eagles hadn't even been on. I think like Matt J's band Idea Shower had just finished. We were just like, okay, right, well, this is us as putting gigs on, we're never going to do it again. And we started kicking everyone out, and then she came up to you afterwards and was like, okay, you can carry on now. After 50 people have been kicked out. And then she says, just lock the door and carry on. And we were like, okay.
I think we didn't realise at the time that the problem was people outside. When there were lots of people outside, it got shut down, and when there weren't,
it was fine.
Yeah. I think because you had this flats across the way, didn't you?
We had to move one to Audacious halfway through it.
Yeah, what was that one?
Alright, Paddy.
Hey, Paddy.
How you doing?
What's good, Steve?
That was Saturday's Kids and
Joanna Gruesome, Yeah, that was another funny one. But then, like the Tories did something good, didn't they? And they passed they passed like a licensing law that basically said any party under 200 people doesn't need a license. And so that's what we did until we got shut down. We were fine license wise. It was just noise and public disturbance.
We also like made some. You should probably clarify that the Tories doing something good is an exception.
But I mean, I thought that was implied in my tone.
I'm gonna put the volume up really high.
The Tories did something. Oh shit! I'm doing it again. They've never done anything.
We did a bit of soundproofing.
after blocked up those windows.
Yeah.
I think I've kind of talked for a while. What were your favourite gigs?
Just about the windows, I did see that photo that somebody posted of you playing, and there was the windows and just one poorly made.
Yeah, like it was also it's like a bag of insulation tied on with a guitar cable to a window. Yeah. Like this is really going to help. Basically, all of the earlier ones, to be honest, and then it got to a certain point where it would just be stressful because I was worried about like health and safety, and you'd have been worried about health and safety, I'm sure, Carl.
It's one of the things I've actually come in here and thought the health and safety here is superb.
Oh, great!
I mean, is it? There's like one door out of this building with lots of wood.
This is how
you're forgetting this is audio. No one can see this, but I'm saying it's really good.
Oh, right,
if the council hear this and go like.
Yeah, so that fire escape you built at the back is really, really good at it. It's illuminated walkways all the way through. Just have to bring your own drill.
Paint it on.
It kind of, my enjoyment of it tapered off pretty quickly, and there came a point where it was like, I'm just doing this because really.
You told me like
especially
that Rebel. You told me like that Rebel gig though.
Oh yeah, but that was good.
Put my own promotion in.
You know how many people were there? 40 or something.
Yeah, it was quite a nice number. Yeah,
really nice. And then when it was like 70, it was not that nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do occasionally think. Normally, like I'll see a photo of something there and be like, "Oh, that was cool, wasn't it?" But then I'm just really happy I don't have to deal with the stress of putting on shows.
But I think that's like getting old. Like not because I feel like that. Like I
prematurely got old.
But you were old the day I met you. So. I just kind of I got to the point where like I just got like terrible anxiety about putting gigs on. Like when we put Drenge on at Food Hall, and like that was it was a gig with my friends. It was at a place that was cool. And I was just like, this is going to be awful. Nobody's going to turn up. No one's going to turn up. And we sold out and stuff. It was fine. And like I was getting that more and more. I mean, that Drenge gig's an exception, but I was getting that at smaller gigs. And it's just like, can I be bothered doing this all the time? And part of me is glad. No, I'm obviously not glad that the old space has gone. I wish we still had it, but I'm glad that there isn't the kind of the weight of feeling like you have to put gigs on anymore. Which is what it felt like at times.
Yeah, I think in some ways that responsibility where you're putting a show on and you're worried about something going wrong or someone getting hurt or something has kind of ruined my enjoyment of like playing shows and going to shows, because now, I mean, not even restricted to music, to like going to indie wrestling shows.
With that, what, 25 minutes before we got to indie wrestling?
I am like actively worried about things going wrong, and I'll be always looking out for things, and if someone's behaving like a dickhead, I can't just ignore it.
I have that.
It's like there, and I'm like, I have to stop this. This is ruining it for people. But it's like, no, it's not my show, and it's not my responsibility. But I became so used to that feeling. That
I kind of got into it. I was like, if something happens, I'm a witness. And if I have to go to court, I cannot be bothered to go to court.
I can't take the days off work for this.
I'm self-employed.
But that kind of like
that's the sort of selfish spin on it.
Yeah. When Ben and I first met Adam, we quickly started nicknaming him Dadam. So I wonder why.
Yeah.
You don't have somebody. You got someone who's going to drive you home and look after you, though. That's the thing.
Well, Ben was the driver. To be fair, again, another reason that we started a tape label is because we started playing gigs with Burgheist and like driving to Leeds and stuff. And Ben's car, he had that beautiful car. He had a Mercedes Benz.
Really?
So his mum gave him a Mercedes Benz, and like I have to stress that it was probably his mum's car, but it was like an 80s
incredible brick red with a sunroof, and it was awesome.
And it had wood panelling on the interior. It was probably worth like £400, but it was beautiful. It only had a cassette player, so he was the driver. He'd drive us to Leeds and back and drive us to all our gigs that we played, and we were beholden to his, and well, ultimately what became our cassette collection. So and there's only so many times that you can drive to Leeds listening to the Barbie Girl single cassette, over and over again.
Single.
single. Sorry, yes.
When Bruce, when we first started, had like a big yellow van, which was the idea was it was going to be like touring bands like around Europe and that in it, but it did not have the capability to last. Like it was falling apart even when Bruce got it, and he would just in his spare time would just make tapes of like just for the van, and basically everyone would be like status quo. So like when you're driving along the motorway and you hear like the start of like down down deeper and down by stage, you're like these motorways.
Yeah, Ben had some crackers though, didn't he? Like he had like a really deep cassette collection. I think that was like another reason for us. It was like, well, we can make these now. And, like we know it's possible to do it and relatively cheap. So we just kind of filled his car up with our own cassettes, which is a bit narcissistic, I guess.
It's quality control. That's what it is.
That's what we needed more of.
Yeah. I'm gonna because when I spoke to Ed and Callum, they said that basically they found out about the
This is the ad break, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. That's what I was thinking. Like that'll be a cut there.
So, what products can we sell?
Who's your sponsors?
Yeah, this week we're sponsored by NatureBox. NatureBox is a.
I was gonna do what I said to Benny. I'd do if you want people Hoodoo for it. I wanted to be like, "Are you a dad?" Yeah.
Do you like Psych Dad music?
Yeah, basically. I was gonna be like, do your kids think you're uncool? I'll be like, oh, Dad, you're so uncool. Why don't you become Psych Dad? Hey, Dad. Tired of your kids thinking you're uncool? Oh, Dad, you're so uncool. Then why don't you become Psych Dad? Yes, time to get rid of your Morrissey haircut. Grow it out. And become the ultimate Psych Dad by going to evilhoodoo.bigcartel.com. Oh Dad, you're now so cool. That's right, Timmy, your dad is now cool because he went to evilhoodoo.bigcartel.com. evilhoodoo.bigcartel.com. They were saying basically they found out that the old space was being knocked down by looking at the planning, like a planning application that was on a lamppost outside. Yeah. Did you know before then, or were you told through official means, or was it just you just
no? It was always had planning permission on it.
Yeah,
from the start when we moved in. Yeah. So it had it on it for like 5 years or 4 years or whatever. And basically they run in 3-year cycles. So what they did is they had to advertise the fact they were applying for an extension, to renew the term of the existing planning permission they already had on the building. So I knew that there was existing planning permission, and then I found out about the renewal thing from Michael calling me up or whatever. I assume he heard from Ed.
So it all come together. That's fine.
But we've been kind of like living under the threat of eviction for like 3 years. And I remember like when I was moving back up to Sheffield from living in London, I was like, the first like month that I was back here, everyone, like all of my London friends were like saying, "Oh, so is Tye Die still there? You still got the space?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's going to be there forever." But we jinxed it. They moved up in July, and by the end of August, it had been knocked down. So I do feel. By the
end of August, it was a car park.
Yeah, I do feel. I remember like cycling back from work and like just seeing it in like every day, just seeing it in a different state of destruction. And it's so fucking depressing.
What I like about that car park though is I remember Max
That was a great car park.
It's
It's
I
well
think
tarmacked, I have
You
to
can
say.
park there for like £1 on Sundays or something.
yeah, it's after, it's after like it's after.
This guy's got free city centre parking.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry. Edit that bit out.
Because if people go looking for your car,
It's a
It's a Ford Fiesta, James.
I'm trying to remember yours. It's a Vauxhall Aguila. Silver.
Well, what I like about it is the car park is. Remember Max telling me that in one of the reports that there was supposedly like some asbestos in the building.
Yeah.
And basically that car park is just the rubble from that building.
Yeah.
So it's just basically like this massive like.
They found like
asbestos.
Yeah.
they broke some record in Sheffield for the amount of unexploded ordnance they found when they demolished it.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently it's like
Or Burgheist record.
All bombs.
Yeah.
As in bombed.
They found like 2 in a certain radius.
Really?
Yeah. And that whole area is well dodgy because there's that sinkhole that opens up every now and again behind Decathlon in the middle of the road. It's like the entire road.
Just wondered like the whole of Sheffield's is going to go down into. It's going to be like threads, but like an inverse threads.
It'd be like Gears of War.
Yeah.
And there'll just be like the middle of town that'll be built on like a basalt rock or something like that.
Well, there's like loads of. There was like a whole subterranean area in Sheffield.
Well, there's mega
shops.
Yeah, is it called Megatron or something?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
No, Megatron's the sewer. There's a giant sewer.
Oh yeah, no. There was basically, I think it's like on the dual carriageway where there's now little walkways with those circle things.
Right, okay.
There were
Olsen
underground shopping centres near Debenhams that connected together.
Right.
Yeah, so you go down and then there were shops.
That's weird.
There, and I think they shot that in like the 60s or 70s. I don't know.
We're just, hanging
Just
back.
chilling.
Just hanging.
Well, you missed the joke earlier, so I'll repeat it for the benefit of the audience playing along at home.
Yeah.
This was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Because there's 2 of you. We're in the studio.
Yeah.
And we're alive.
How many
Yeah.
times?
Do you
Carl,
Make sure you're able to edit out both instances of that joke.
There was
So Carl, I've got a joke for you, Carl.
Do you want to save it for my variety night? I'm just going to do them then.
Oh no! Don't encourage him.
Possibly.
Wear a Jack bow tie.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, dude.
Have you heard about Brian Eno's new child?
Go on.
He had him in Manila. Called it Philip. Filipino.
I'm telling you, but you said your tone was that the second line you said like the punchline. So you went, "Have you heard Brian Eno's child? Had him in Manila."
It's
Like-
called him Philip. It's the 1-2 punch.
The emphasis is...
So
you got the orders.
Yeah. Literally everyone you've told it to hasn't understood it. So I really think you should consider
It's more of a
saying the
riddle.
It is a
punchline
riddle.
rather than letting people work it out.
Brian Eno's had a new kid. It's called him Philip.
No. Right? Have you heard Brian Eno's had a kid born in Manila? He's called him Filipino.
No, I don't like. I like the.
Show you working.
Yeah, to show you work. It's POW, proof of working. It's a
No,
picture.
like Adam shows that,
Yeah.
but he gives the punch.
No, I think you have to
Or
generate.
you could even get it quicker, so
Stuck
you
on the
could be,
first joke.
oh, Brian Eno's had a kid in Manila. Called him Filipino.
Okay, that's good.
That's
There we go.
good.
That's
Oh,
the
there we go.
joke.
Done.
All right.
Next.
There we
Fuck
go,
you.
and then you're not left leaving people hanging for like a minute until you explain it.
All right, you win.
Thanks.
Do you want
That's
to
all I wanted
hear the joke in my book? That I've actually got a joke.
There you go.
How do you save 3 clowns from a fire?
Cards.
Say it.
How do you save 3 clowns? Yeah, look, this is why I'm not making a joke.
Potato, potato, potato.
How do you save 3 clowns from a fire?
Clouds.
Clowns.
Clowns.
Don't know.
Leave them to die. It's what they would have wanted. That's the best reaction I've got from that joke.
No, but I like terrible jokes.
Fellow comic.
I was going along the lines of like squeeze their flour really, really hard until all the little...
Well, I did that. I actually did that at the last Bruce and Carl show, and I had to explain it for about 5 minutes on stage about it. Like, think about all the ways that a clown would try and save itself from a fire. So, like, yeah, they'd have the flour, like, be trying to spray water into the fire, like trying to get like a long handkerchief down, and yeah, it didn't go down very well. I didn't go have anything else joke-wise in here. I just have loads of random yellings and things. Right, so. Just as a quick... So, when did you move to this space here? We are currently... I'm not going to tell you where you are, but...
So, we moved in February last year.
So, you've been in a year?
Yeah, we've been in a year, but it's probably only been kind of functional since probably June last year. We were kind of... I went away for a few weeks in April, and I was hoping we could do it for then, but it was just too much work, really, so... I'm not going to belittle your efforts.
There was some shade thrown with your eyes there, if I dare say so.
But yeah, I mean, so it's kind of it's like our ideal space, really, and one of the advantages of it is that we can leave things set up. There's no shows happening, so
you're doing no shows ever.
No shows ever.
Yeah.
I just don't want our expensive recording stuff to get broken. Or nicked or whatever.
That we take home every night and it's never left in the building.
Well, no one will know where it is. So.
I've got your postcode now.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of the setup we always wanted to have at the previous place, but we'd always be breaking stuff down, and we didn't want to put any money into the space because we didn't know how long we'd be there, and there was planning permission on it. Whereas we've got a lot more stability here. Like a good landlord, and it's meant that we can hardwire everything in and build things. And so
I think that's our problem with a little bit of clowns, that we don't actually know how long we're going to be there for.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it was like a big kind of like at Tye Die, we just got used to everything kind of like being ruined, didn't we?
Light things pulled out. The ceiling.
Like we never replaced those, and we would just buy lamps, or the hot water long since stopped working, and it was just like, well, there's no point in fixing it, that glass, like a glass window got smashed at our very first gig, and we never ever. A guy threw a fire extinguisher.
Down the stairs.
Down the stairs.
Glass window,
Moron. Sorry if you're listening. Moron.
I don't think they could launch a good defence of that, really. But yeah, I mean, so now we kind of have I guess it's like a hybrid digital analog recording studio, which is what we've always wanted. Lots of outboard and the ability to easily record.
And available to record, right?
Kind of.
If Adam likes your band.
Yeah, email me and I'll tell you whether I think your band sucks or not.
Or whether he's busy.
I'll just tell you.
I don't care
now. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. It's a nice place, and it's cold though.
It's nice as
we need to work on the heating.
Yeah, but it's a big metal building.
Yeah.
It's nice, like going from, because I'd always had Tye Die. Like I think Burgheist, we practiced on Carlisle Way or whatever it's called. Carlisle Street. We had like a shared space with Adam's band, which has just come back from the ashes. Nigel. It was Burgheist and Nigel shared a room which was probably like a third the size of this room, and we had Nigel were our Doom band, because you're back, and they had all their amplifiers, and we had shared one drum kit, and everything was tiny, like rats running along the floors and stuff like that. Yeah. And we went from that to you and Jordan, I think, found the old Tye Die space. Yeah. We went to that, and it was just like, whoa, this place is insane. Yeah. But we were in there. I mean, we were in there for a very long time, weren't we?
Yeah.
Like, what, 5, 6 years?
5 years. I think. Maybe 6.
And then by the time I'd gone to London, when I moved down there, I was like, oh yeah, Tye Die's alright. It's a cool space to have. Not really realising.
Wasn't that DIY space for London like that?
No, it wasn't. No. That started.
So that's the one problem like London had.
But even I love DIY space for London. It's miles away from where I lived. It's very difficult to get to.
Yeah, I think one weekend I just went down and tried to find it. And I was like, Is it quite near the river?
No.
Or something? No, I can't
It's near Millwall's football ground.
Yeah. Southeast.
But make the trip, always go there. There is a fantastic record shop there run by Kevin, who was in male bonding, called Tome Records.
Was he in male bonding?
Yeah. He's fantastic. He stocks a lot of t-shirts as well. He had a bolt thrower t-shirt that I'm still like, next time I go there, I'm just like snatching. Yeah. He only had mediums and I'm now an extra large. So. Yeah, that was like...
happens to the best of us.
It does. Yoga is enough. I think one of the things that I noticed when I moved down there, it was like, it's the old, you don't know what you miss until it's gone.
Yeah.
They did pave Paradise and turn into a parking lot eventually, but at that point, it was... sorry. At that point...
It's the best joke you've done all night.
Huh?
It's the best joke you've done all night.
So Brian Eno, right? Like when I got down there, and I was practicing with a couple of bands, and and I was playing with Kilo, and it was like £30 for like a 2-hour practice, and I was just like, fuck! I used to pay like 40 odd quid a month at old Tye Die.
So that was the first bit of the interview. Again, that was done at the new Tye Die space, probably more than a month ago now. That kind of gives you, I think, a background on the past, the present and the future of what Tye Die's plans are. This is just more me kind of doing a bit more of a rambly bit, really, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who's listened so far. The numbers have been pleasantly surprising, reached more people than what I expected it to. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this and tell your friends about it, rate it, tell a mate. If you want to support this or Delicious Clam in any way, then please go to deliciousclamrecords.bandcamp.com and you'll see all the releases there which are available to buy, and merchandise. I think there's some tote bags and t-shirts still available. I would presume there'll be some new things coming up in there pretty soon. There's also the bundle deal, which is everything that Delicious Clam have released. in digital form, which is available for the minimum price of £28.93, and that's about 35% off that. There's loads of bands there and loads of releases from the likes of Potpourri, Tommy Hilfiger, Katie Pham, The Mighties, Bruce and Carl, Avida Dollars, Funbuster, and many, many more. If you'd like to find Delicious Clam on Facebook, it is just type in Delicious Clam Records and you'll find our Facebook page. The Twitter is at delicious_clam, and the Instagram is at deliciousclamstagram. If you want to message me in any way or contact me, whether that be for gigs or criticisms or positiveness that you'd like to send me, then my email is bruceandcarlband@gmail.com. If you want to tweet me or whatever, go to @bruceandcarl on Twitter. We will now go into the second interview I did with Tye Die Tapes. If I fully understand this one is longer. If you want to take a rest now, I'd probably say take a rest, but there'll be more music in this second half. The chat's a bit more open and a bit more, as I said in the introduction, it's less formal. We're just having a chat. We do this one at James's house with some pizza and beer, so it's just us having a bit of a chat basically. The conversation starts off with us talking about our old football teams and injuries. I don't think there's anything too gruesome in that. I do give a story about a mole that I had on my arm that got studded off basically. Somebody went into a tackle with me and cut my arm and tore the mole off as it did it. It's nothing bad, don't worry. I think that's mainly the most gruesome bit of it all. James talks about concussion he got, which, yeah, I don't think there's anything too bad in there. But I don't really explain my injury very well. That's basically it. Somebody cut my arm, mole ripped off, and it's been replaced with a bit of weird skin. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's the point. Sorry, that's the point I need to make. That I ask a question about MySpace and the internet, and I don't ask the question very well, but I get quite a good answer, so I've left it in for you to listen because I think it's interesting. But my original thought was about how MySpace and the internet have affected local music scenes. I think I still get a satisfactory answer out of it, but I don't say it very well, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Liv, who we mentioned previously from being in an Enternal broadcast, is also there, so you will sometimes hear her. The other thing I need to say about this is to say a massive thank you to James and Adam for taking the time out to do this interview over 2 nights, and it was a lot of fun to do, and I really appreciate it, and we got a lot out of it, so I hope that you enjoy it. Big thanks to those guys. And if you want to look into more detail about the bands they've released and more about what they do, please go to www.tyedietapes.com. The track going into this will be by Advanced Bass, which is called Christmas in Oakland, which is off the In Bloomington cassette from Tye Die Tapes, which they released last year. There's a track also in the middle from a band called Mattress called Free Yard, and that is also off a Tye Die release. And let's just bloody get into it. I'll see you.
Hey folks, we're Advanced Bass from out of town. Thanks a lot for being here. Just here for Busman's Holiday. It was so good. Christmas in Oakland, I don't feel a thing. Road bikes to the Chevron for Chesterfield Kings. the smoke in our eyes as we ride. How it stings, what tidings we bring. It's Christmas in Oakland and warm spring, and snuck into the movies with towel boys to drink. Asleep half an hour into some awful thing, and dreaming. Christmas in Oakland, no kerosene. The whole town's deserted, gingerbread housing, with St. Nick's with buckets and bells to ring. What tidings we bring. On Christmas in Oakland, we had a fight. Drank the good whiskey you'd been saving, with stars in our eyes, lying on mattress springs. We were beaming. Thanks a lot.
Go watch Hallam.
But what's interesting though with football, which is kind of slated here now, that teams like Hallam and Sheffield FC, and it's starting to happen. Like more and more people are starting to go to those lower like league games. There's so much of it. I was talking to Luke Curry about this actually.
He's part of like the West Didsbury.
Yeah, and but he's Middlesbrough fan as well.
Right. Okay.
And so like we were talking about West Didsbury as well, but like we were kind of saying that like when crowds are up, like in big stadiums like that, it's not necessarily because a team's winning or like on the top of its league. It's that they're doing like they've got cheaper tickets, but also that they're trying to play football in a good way and in an entertaining way. And there's like a lot of problems. I've kind of gone on slight tangents with it, but like a lot of the problems with football now is about getting teams up into the top league, so they're making money. And like they're making more money off the Sky or whoever. When actually there's causing a massive disconnect between football fans and their clubs. Because the clubs are trying to get up, but actually most fans, well, a lot of fans aren't actually that bothered if you're in the top league. They just want to be entertained on a Saturday afternoon. You know what I mean? And so there's more and more people going, well, why would I spend
say even like I can't remember how much Derby's it is, but it's £300 plus for a season ticket. So why would I spend that when I can go?
cheap.
Derby's it's more. It's about £365, I think, something like that. I can't quite remember what it is, but like for like a season. Why would I spend that when I can go and spend what is it, £5 or something?
£5 at Hallam, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get that, but I also think it's like there's different styles of play.
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm just watching a game, like any game, I can get just as much enjoyment out of like a team that is just like totally gutting it out, like deep counter-attacking football, scores one goal, defends it well, is intense and defensive, as like Liverpool.
I kind of as a one-off
season,
game, though. It's you're watching that team week in, week out.
Yeah.
I think it becomes.
I think
if they're
the most
winning,
boring of all the major sports.
I think if they're playing that game well,
you don't even know you started this. You made it carry on.
Yeah.
Which we got onto about wrestling.
But then, like I think, like the reason that I enjoy going to Hallam is not necessarily for the football. Like the football is like ancillary to my enjoyment of my time at. What's the football ground called? What's Hallam's ground called? Sandygate.
Sandygate.
Like I enjoy going to Sandygate because invariably you'll be there. Lots of my other friends will be there. Liv will be there. It will be like a nice social thing that doesn't break the bank.
Yeah.
Is there a pub like on this site?
There's a little clubhouse, and you're not allowed beer.
It's very cheap.
Yes.
You're not allowed beer.
You're not allowed beer within on an FA Cup game.
On an FA Cup.
On an FA Cup game, you can't have beer within sight of the pitch.
Yeah.
Really?
Outside within sight of the pitch.
Freezing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was when they were playing. Who was it? I think it was probably the last game we went to actually because it was so cold. Well, Bootle in the cup, and
That's just a good name.
Bootle. Yeah, and it was also at the height of Paul Nuttall running for the MP of Bootle.
Is he like a UKIP guy?
Yeah, he was the UKIP guy who said he played for Man City when he didn't.
But he didn't.
Yeah, he's like the chronic liar.
Yeah, but I forgot he existed.
Yeah, me too. Because now you've got Henry Bolton.
Yeah.
Who our friends down in Folkestone who run Hot Salvation had the joy of turning away from their record shop.
Nice.
Henry Bolton and his racist girlfriend.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people though, the kind of social element and the football element are inseparable. You know, like it's you go to a football game, you watch it, you support a team, you kind of shout. You know, you're behind your team, and your community is anybody else who is behind the team. You know, there's banter with opposition supporters. You know, it's
kneecapping. What do they call it? Ghoulies.
Do you have like is there any like whinges like in the crowd at Hallam, like people just going like, oh rubbish, you shit,
I do.
You shit six.
Ben Epworth. When we went for my stag do, Ben Epworth just he had about 9 pints before the game even kicked off, and he just kept going, oh shit.
Oh, you're so wasted.
He was doing his typical Barnsley drawl. It was beautiful. They did like because it was an away game. It was at Swallow Nest. They did like a YouTube video afterwards of like somebody had been filming it, and we were stood next to the camera. And throughout the entire game, all you can hear is Ben just slurring insults.
And this Hallam player scored an absolute screamer. And if you watch the clip right before it, you can hear Michael go, "Shoot, you dickhead!" And then he shoots and scores this screamer. It's so good. It's like perfect.
It's fucking brilliant.
Do you have a favourite Hallam player?
I don't know, and even the goalkeeper's usually quite
plays
good because he's dead old. When I used to play in goal, I used to call me the teapot because I leaned up against the post and like quite I just like lean up like that.
I can so imagine that.
Yeah, because
you just like.
There was like the last 2 seasons that I played like youth football for Dewsbury Rangers. I had like a really good defence, and it was so boring. We went from finishing bottom 1 year to finishing second, and then we went on to the next age group, and it just got not very fun anymore because it was like 18.
Yeah, at the same time to us actually. Like we were we went from under 16 to under 18 because like they wanted us to bulk up a little bit from under 18, but we just get basically these kind of like adults would basically just be kicking the shit out of us.
we had under 16. We were terrible. The year that we were under 16, we just finished like bottom of the bottom divisions. We couldn't even get relegated. And then under 17s, we went and finished second. And then that was enough for us to be allowed into the under 18s because a lot of teams were folding because they didn't have the players to play.
Yeah, it kind of happens at that age where people don't want to play football anymore because they want to go out. And
so like the A team and the B team, we were the B team.
Yeah.
They all moulded into one Dewsbury Rangers. And I was part of that for like 6-7 games, and I was like, oh, this is an unfun level of football.
I never played when I was younger.
Really?
No,
Man.
not at all. I mean, I would kick about with friends, but like nowhere near regularly. I literally started when I was like 21, when I was doing my masters.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to go into the Chesterfield suburbs and get into fights.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see.
Used to hate. I used to wind people up on the football pitch, so I used to be like chirping at people all the time.
I bet they loved getting stuck into you bakewell, that soft bakewell.
Well, we were
bakewell tarts.
They thought, bullies. It was. Well, I didn't even play for Matlock. Anyways, I didn't even play for Bakewell. It was Matlock United. Captain.
Bit grittier.
Really?
Bit grittier. You were the captain.
Player of the year. What? Player of the year. Final year. My dad was the manager of the final year, but
Captain Carl.
Yeah, I was alright. No, thing is, like, surprisingly, no one could really tell what I was saying on the pitch because I'd just be yelling things.
Yeah.
And just because of my slur. And
I was a big yeller.
Yeah.
I was like, especially as a goalkeeper, like, clear out, push out, and it's just all I would say.
I'm like I'm a natural dictator.
Yes, I may have.
When even when we're playing five-a-side.
Sorry.
This happened last time. You were over on a bit.
I know.
When we're
should we start the podcast because it's 9:30?
Oh, we've already started.
Oh, is this the podcast?
Yeah, it's been
podcast.
Do you not talk about my inquisitive questions?
Well, I was just hoping that our press secretary would kind of jimmy things along.
I didn't know it was recorded.
I always worry when we're playing five-a-side that I'm too shouty, like especially.
Oh no, there's worse than
I'm
you.
like mark up, we mark it, and then I catch myself like we're just having a kick about.
Yeah. No, it's worse.
Tuesday.
My question about football before we can go into music is: what's your most gruesome youth football injury?
Injury? I was fortunate. I didn't get injured that often. I used to roll my ankles all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to not be able to walk for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. I didn't really have. I can't really remember anything on the pitch, to be honest. I could think, that happened to. We had one guy who used to like 2-footing people, and there was a few crunches. Like
I had a defender like that who couldn't tackle, and I once saved 9 penalties in a season.
Did you?
Because
did you even?
out of 12, because he just would 2-foot people in the box, and it's penalty. And I was, that's cool. I guess I'm getting really good at saving penalties now. But yeah.
Did you have technique for saving penalties?
I can only dive to one side.
Sorry.
So being a dyspraxic, right?
Yeah.
Which is a developmental.
Why do they put you in goal?
Well, if the choice is between putting him in goal and putting him out,
because I had too high centre of gravity to play rugby. I was too tall for rugby.
I hated playing rugby.
I loved it, but I was just like, you'd flip me and I'd bottle over.
Did you go to like sports schools then?
Yeah.
Lady Manners was a rugby school.
Our rugby team was very good and was like the national champions.
Wow.
I don't think it was I think it was the year below us that won it, but yeah, we had a very good rugby team and mediocre football team. I was always second fiddle to Joel though, because he was a goalkeeper and he played for Halifax Town. So I was always reserve goalkeeper at school.
What was the worst rugby injury at school?
I mean, I don't know. I was always on the bench because I was shit. I played like 2 games.
What position? I don't know. This won't mean anything to me.
So second row. So I was like.
I was second row. I just hated it.
Are you just like second row in the scrum?
Yeah, but there's no scrums in rugby league. So.
Was it rugby league?
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Nothing.
No, you kind of like
good.
one in from the winger. So the role of the this is all wrong. I bet a second rower basically like kind of like runs at the line and tries to create space for the winger.
And then just passes.
Pass it off to the winger. Yeah, but my friend
doesn't
Eddie,
everybody just know you're going to pass it to the winger then?
Well, sometimes when the whole thing is that you try and get through, and if you can't, you pass to the winger. But you might also pass it inside. But my friend Eddie used to play for Bradford Bulls, who were, when we were kids, were like the best rugby team. And he was on their youth team, and he was also playing for our school team. And he was like my best friend growing up. And there was one game we played. I can't remember where it was. I'd love to know this. I think it was like out Hullway. And he did all this work, like kind of like ran over like 17 people. There was only 13 people on the side. And he maybe it's 11. Fuck! Please don't put.
Is it 50? Is it 50? Oh no, rugby league. I was going to say rugby union's 15, isn't it?
I think it's 13 at rugby league. But he ran over like 1 million people, and it was right on the line. And I was stood like behind him, supporting him, and he passed the ball to me, and I scored a try, and then ref blew it up for a forward pass. And I was just like,
is that the only try you ever?
Yeah,
nearly scored.
I never scored a goal either because I was a goalkeeper. But going back to gruesome football injuries, I was once concussed.
Nice.
On a muddy pitch. It was. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
The only thing I can think of is I heard my mole stood it off. I went for a tackle and like just the mole just fell off. I got tackled there, like stood first, and it just fell off. Like it is growing back, and it's really like just. It used to be like a proper good mole, and it's just a mess.
So was he wearing like blades or?
It was
man, you remember like Predator blades before blades were illegal?
Like
blades illegal. Then?
Yeah. You can't wear blades. You can't wear molded blades.
They weren't any good anyway.
No, like
just what
slid about.
Didn't David Beckham wore them? I seem to remember. Then everyone loved it because like, did you get anyone who got the David Beckham haircut in your primary school? You know, they want like the weird shitty Mohican.
Oh no, we didn't have that. I tried for years, and like a reason I had my hair short was because I wanted David Beckham. Well, technically Robbie Fowler curtains, like like my brother had them, like, and I thought,
wanted them,
and I was like, man, that's the coolest fucking haircut I've ever seen. But I've got incredibly curly hair, and my hair doesn't do that. It just it just goes. And I remember
it's more like a Steve McManaman than a
I did it the other day. I tried to get my hair into a side part.
That's amazing.
Cheers, Liv, thanks for that. For the record, Liv is showing a photo of me with a side part, the centre part. But yeah, we had when I played for Howden Clough, we had a fantastic one. So what we call not Josh something, I can't remember his name, but his dad was the coach. But he wasn't paying our subs for the entire season. He was taking them, and he was like a low level drug dealer. And he was like using our subs, which probably it was like £3 a person. Yeah, so like for a squad of like 15 kids, was not that much money. But like he was using that to then buy weed and sell weed in Howden Clough. And in the end, we got banned. We got barred from playing because we'd not paid our subs for 8 months, and he got suspended. And his son Josh played in midfield and was like typical David Beckham wanker. You know, like kind of, it was when the mullet was a real thing.
Yeah, I was going to
He had a dyed mullet, like up there and down there.
Yeah,
always
like,
the best boots.
I was going to say, like, there's a Derby player called... We were saying on loan at Derby, but like, it was called Matthias Svensson.
Yeah.
And he had it, like, it was just like, he had like these little curls just coming out here. Yeah, and like, I used to think that was really cool. I used to do that, like, redo my hair for school, and I was still like, you know, in the middle of puberty, so I smelled and like couldn't do my hair, like everything, like just looked like a weird kid. But I was just trying to make my hair like have this really cool like outbits here.
You're just describing me now, to be honest.
Halfway through puberty.
You've really grown into your hair, though, Carl. I think it looks good.
Thanks, Adam. I like your hair too. Hey. And yours, James. You took your cap off.
Yeah, put the cap back on.
Hey, come on, this is a new look for me. That photo of me from 3 years ago that I found on our company's website, and I'm like a fucking toddler.
What with the totally shaved?
I tell you, you look a bit like Bobby.
What, with or without hair?
On the photo.
On the photo, like,
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know, it's just the glasses.
I'll
that
take
just made
that.
me
He's
think.
a handsome man.
Yeah.
Hi, Robbie. How you doing?
He's not listening.
I saw he did a video with I think it's one of the guys at Long Limbs the other day.
Oh, it's
like
awesome.
playing darts. It's got the weirdest dart prize I've ever seen. It's like so. Last time we spoke, we were talking about MySpace and the advantages of it to now, where there's things like Bandcamp that don't really probably work as well, and you lose that communication.
Mm-hmm.
That got me thinking about music across the country now in comparison to then.
We need to go back and do a little like time warp type.
2
weeks later.
2 months later.
Sorry.
About like, because I think when I first started playing music, let's say 10 years ago, like started playing around the country properly and stuff, like you used to get that where we were talking about earlier, where different cities had their different bands who all were quite specific in how they sounded, and you'd say, like, I remember it's like Leeds bands had a certain sound, you know, say like Manchester bands would have a certain sound and that type of thing, and like now you don't really get that as much. Like we were saying, like, it's not really like a Sheffield sound anymore, or there's not really like. And is that partly because of things like MySpace happening, and is that a good or overall good or a bad thing?
Basically, I think because the internet has meant that you can easily find people who are doing similar things, people end up aligning based on genre. So, this band sounds like us, so we should tour with them, we should do a split record with them, we should play some shows with them, we should go and record with this person because they've done music that's similar to what we've done. And that information is much more readily available, and you can easily find people who sound like a bit like your band, no matter how obscure your band is. I think you lose some of the local element of it becoming like a melting pot. I think you don't really have that anymore.
No.
You have kind of quite a homogenous gigs. You have quite bands touring with bands that sound like them, and you have split records where the band sounds the same even though they're from two different places, and you have record labels, which we're probably guilty of, kind of looking for things that fit your sound profile rather than representing bands from your area. You know, and I think we have went and did some stuff because we were liking the sound of some stuff from Ohio, and then we moved and released some bands similar to that, rather than it just being us releasing bands that are kind of local and where we know the people and things like that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the way Discord does things is that they don't release bands that aren't from Washington DC. And the reason that they don't do that is because they want to put back into their scene and they want to promote their own local talent, their friends, the people that come to their shows. I mean, that's all well and good doing that in the 90s when it's very, you know, like there isn't.
Is that why they didn't respond to my demo tapes I sent them?
The only band that they've ever released that aren't from DC, Lungfish.
Really?
From Baltimore. I think that's it. What?
That's nearby though, isn't it? It's just like a bit south.
Yeah, so Maryland, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the District of Maryland. Washington, D.C. is in the District of Columbia, and then Baltimore is in the state or county of Maryland.
Right.
Baltimore Ravens, the Washington Redskins, and there is one other team all play in Maryland, but like Washington is technically the Washington, if that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry, NFL and Lungfish in a sentence. Bingo.
So I don't think you finished your point. I think you just got.
No, my point was that that maybe there I think there is definitely relevance and merit in doing it the way that Discord, obviously because it's Discord, it's the perfect record label. But there's I think there's merit in doing it that way, in kind of allowing your own, or not allowing, but using your platform to promote your local scene rather than using your platform to promote people from the other side of another country. That was something that we did, when we became the only record label in Sheffield to release 2 bands from Ohio, one after the other. That was something we did because the internet made everything smaller. Yeah. MySpace made everything smaller. Now, would we be able to find, and not even just find, but also like convince a band to release with us? I think is quite important. Like, speaking from my experience, the last one that I did was I reached out to Amcam because I thought it was fantastic music and I thought it was something that I wanted to release. As to whether that's the right way to go, I don't know. Maybe we need to double down and focus back on our own creative output. Now we don't have a space to put gigs on. It's kind of realigned what we do as a label and how we function. Is we've both said that we need to kind of go back to what we did, which was 20 cassettes, 30 cassettes, small runs, giving stuff that people could sell at shows.
To me, and I think it's probably because when I've kind of grown up in an era where, well, it's not like it wasn't like it is now, where you can go onto like Apple Music and just search for any album and listen to it, or Spotify or whatever. But I grew up in an era where everything was instantly accessible, and it didn't even occur to me that we should be focusing on a local scene, or that there even was a concept of a local scene. When I think of a kind of network, I think over the internet rather than in person. Yeah. And I think that increasingly will be how it is. I think if there's like a really very tightly knit scene centered basically around SoundCloud and around a few collectives or record labels that release like what's called lo-fi hip hop, and it's generally, there is some rapping in it, but most of the time it's just beats, and it's very warped, and it's very kind of organic samples but resampled at 8-bit, so they're all kind of crushed, and that is like this crazy network that is like some people who are like 40 years old in America, some people who are like 16 in the Ukraine, and that's kind of an internet community based around a couple of nodes, and I think increasingly that's how things will be. Yeah. I think, like, as a general point, like personal one-to-one social interaction is becoming less and less significant. You just have to look at like work, and I've been at work all week, I've not seen anyone. But
you said that in a really sad way.
I'm cool with it.
I've not seen anyone.
It's fine. I prefer it that way, Carl. Yeah, so I mean, I think increasingly you will be moving towards interaction over the internet, becoming as adequate of a substitute for personal interaction. You just have to look at like the rise of online gaming. And, we were talking. It probably made it at some point onto the other podcast, but recently we've been talking about whether that is social. Like, to me, it's not to me, whereas to James it is. And I think I'm behind the times there.
Do you think music in general might become a bit more of a niche than what it is now. And I ask that in the sense of like when you talk about like an internet community, who all kind of maybe understand, like maybe not music as a whole, that's probably, but like where I'm kind of coming with that is I was going to make the point about, and I always kind of when I have this conversation about scenes and the expansion of the internet and people finding music, I always use the Black Lips as an example, because when the Black Lips first came out, obviously it was my type of music, I really liked it, but like the amount of bands who kind of went, well, I want to sound like this, and would write songs like it, but didn't quite maybe realise that what makes the Black Lips what they are is from being from Atlanta, and like being from the South, and being like, and their knowledge of like soul music from that place, and everything else behind them is like quite important to the music they make, and like it gives it another level, which somebody from, tentative my words, but maybe someone in the UK doesn't quite understand. If you have an internet community who understand that and who start making that type of music, you get less people who kind of go, oh, I want to try and make this music and kind of be this party band or whatever, and you get people trying to do things and be more interested. I don't know, I'm trying to raise my point a little bit.
I think the way that I think it will go and is going is a polarisation, and I think this happens with a lot of things now, is there will be niche fanatics and there will be people who engage with music as like a sample of a commodity, and they will only listen to the few things that come up on their radar. And I can see that when things become more readily available, the role of the curator becomes more important. If you went to a museum or an art gallery and there were 10 items there, randomly selected, but they were the only 10 items available, you would go and you would look at those 10 items, and you may enjoy one of them. If you went to an art gallery and there were 150,000 items with no curation whatsoever, and you were left to go and either search by name or go and walk around and, you know, do the physical equivalent of clicking on different links, related artists or whatever, you're less likely to find something, because you're less likely to give a lot of things time. So I think the role of the curator will become increasingly important, and the curator is business and marketing.
Because that's basically like radio too. You know what I mean? Like people listen to something on that and it's like, I like this song, it's gone again. But then what happens to that a little bit as well is that when one song goes, there'll be another one that kind of sounds, if not exactly the same.
Well, you could say it's not Radio 2, it's a 6 music playlist as well.
Well,
because, you know, you'll hear that same Tune Yard song 6 times a day. You know, and then, there'll be another song that will replace it in the next week's playlist or something like that. But, I don't know. I think...
I feel like I've gone like down a very like a tunnel of like kind of sincerity.
Like, sexual tunnel. I just don't think that. I think as information becomes rapidly more available in every form, whether that's musical information, whether that's data, whether it's news, these kind of things, there has to be somebody pulling things out. And I think in some senses that role is way more important than the role of the actual creator. And you know, I don't want to diss the Black Lips, I've literally never heard them, but
I always thought they were just like a poor man's DOCs.
Big comment. Tye Die come beefing.
I just thought the DOCs were better.
I was thinking
VOCs.
Yeah.
I heard them. I saw them.
I mean, some might say that they've stretched themselves, but they were very good when they were very good.
But I mean, I would contend that the reason the Black Lips are popular and the reason the OCs are popular is probably, at some point, a concerted marketing effort by somebody who sunk some money into it.
I don't know. I think back at that point when music especially when the Black Lips and going to the OCs, like when that was happening, that was like the height of like the blogspot.ra Google search, where you wouldn't necessarily find it on, you would find it on people's blogs, and not people who were monetizing their blogs, just people who were writing about things. And I think that was a very kind of like a very special and a very like unique time.
That's true. You don't really get like enthusiasts like you do, like maybe
the blogspot era of like from like 2008 to 2012 was like a real pure way of discovering music, because it was lots of unmonetized blogs and lots of websites that were writing just for the hell of it, or as a way of them getting experience in writing.
And often discovery, like they wanted to be the first ones. It was having that ownership.
It wasn't like to sell clicks, like it is now. Like, the way I found out about the Silver Jews was from a blog spot, and it's like
most original bloggers have now gone on to work in music or get full-time jobs, it's like that. There hasn't been the same amount of people coming back up and doing the same thing. Now I guess it's more like curating Spotify playlists, kind of thing.
Like nudging the algorithm in the right direction. But then when you could just like, like Times New Viking, I've got my computer upstairs. It's all of my music that I downloaded from when I discovered that you could to present, and like I remember like just thinking, I heard like one Times New Viking song on a blog, like it was back at the time when I would actually like I would like my daily routine was like going to university or coming home from university, and then just like going on my computer and just like browsing all of the relevant blogs and seeing the hype machine, seeing who was seeing what people were writing about, like that. Remember when Burgheist had that guy put our song on a YouTube video? Kegs, that's it. Yeah,
I was thinking of him.
And it was just some guy who had a YouTube channel, and he would just like listen to music. I had no idea who this guy is, where he was from, where he was based, whatever. I don't know his. All I know is he probably isn't Sheffield, because I feel like we would have met him. And he just like put a Burgheist song on YouTube, and it's like the most views we've ever had on anything. It was like in the 20s of thousands of views of this one song that we did and we recorded. And like it wasn't a monetized channel, it wasn't anything like that. It was just him doing it for not exposure, just for sharing, for like a real like communal sense of this is great music, you guys should listen to it. And I think as the internet has matured, as websites have matured, as we the like first truly internet generation have matured, all the people have come out and think, how can I monetize it? How can I make a living off of this?
I think that eventually comes in everything though, like not even internet. I think that happens in real life. Because I was talking to somebody, I was talking to this last night about the pre and post Arctic Monkeys boom in Sheffield. Which is a very but like but basically before Arctic Monkeys,
they've fucking nicked my turtleneck.
Do you what?
They've nicked the turtleneck.
Who, Arctic Monkeys?
They have appropriated the turtleneck.
They've appropriated my turtleneck and suit combination.
Oh really?
Which I appropriated from Alan Partridge, but still, they've appropriated that from me. I'm very pissed off at the moment.
Well, like the full circle thing though would be like after they started wearing it, like Partridge will wear it. And like,
please do, Alan. Rescue me.
But before because I was about 14, and we used to start playing shows in Sheffield, and we used to play like above the grapes, where it'd be like £3 entry, and you'd have to, which is something that doesn't happen in Sheffield anymore. And I was putting this out that you don't get band bills that are just 3 local bands. You never get that anymore. It's always like if you've got a Sheffield band on the bill that's supporting somebody who's come from out of town, or like you don't really get that anymore. But you used
to get it with best friends. Like they'd.
This is kind of like when I was a bit out of Sheffield.
Right.
I think when that
you get it with like if there's like a big band, if there's a band that's kind of like jumped out, like best friends would play a gig and they would be the headline, and then they would possibly have an out of town band as support or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, I didn't live in Sheffield for 2 years.
So that's
I'm
probably 5 years ago. Then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like that. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But like I. Rest my case.
Whatever the case was.
Of beer.
But so before then, and it used to be quite good because you got bit of excitement where the Arctic Monkeys kind of getting a bit of a hub, and people wanted to find the next Arctic Monkeys and believed that was of pubs in central Sheffield.
Right.
So like used to play these. We were like a band. We were like 14 years old.
What was your band called?
Midnight Kicks. It was me, Ben Russell, and our friend Isaac.
That's fucking beautiful. Midnight Kicks.
Yeah, I've got a 7-inch.
Really?
I'll bring you one because you'll hear about 15-year-old me screaming into a microphone and stuff like.
Nice.
I'll bring you one round.
Can't wait for that. Who was it on?
It was a really good. It was a Spanish label called Aik Sounds.
That's a cool name.
It was again. This was a MySpace kind of random email, and the cover is a cartoon of it's a Sheffield artist called Oliver Alkin. Can't remember how I pronounce his last name, but like it's like a cartoonist, and it says like with our instruments like exploding the world, like but I'll bring you one round. But what was I saying? You
as a 15-year-old were playing gigs at the Grape, so lots of people were there.
Because then it kind of it exploded.
Yeah,
and it, like gigs got a bit busier, and like they kind of like two things happened at the same time. One, they got to the point where anybody and everybody was turning up, which kind of ruined it because people didn't really understand what gig etiquette was and stuff like that, and just people would come and just feel like, oh, it's a bit of a pushy round party type thing, and then also as well. Venues like that kind of realised there was money in it, and so like higher prices went through the roof, and like people would be spending £200 before they've even like got anyone through the door or booked any bands or anything. So it's like it really. Then after that, this is kind of how I saw how Sheffield kind of what happened with it. It really felt that once the Arctic Monkeys got big, like Sheffield as a whole kind of went on like a downturn, and like there wasn't that many gigs happening, and a lot of bands who I knew from there kind of all slowly went to pasture.
Well, I think we like just really doing a big callback to Adam's thing about when we started doing tie-dye. It's like we started doing tie-dye totally outside of the Sheffield scene. Like we didn't know anyone. We didn't. I personally idolised Wooderson. Which I think saying that out loud is like a totally ridiculous thing nowadays. Like I idolised Sam Lenthal and Loic and Ash and Ben. Like I just thought they were the best band on the planet. I just thought they were like the punk band in Sheffield. And like I remember like sending MySpace messages to what turned out to be Adam Humphrey when he was putting gigs on, and Sam Lenthal like begging to get shows and stuff. Never fucking responded to me. I've had this out with them previously in the past. They never replied to me and stuff. And it wasn't until I don't know when it was when we started like getting asked to play shows and stuff, or like people would put us on. But we started doing tie-dye like totally separate to that, and we were releasing bands in Ohio because we didn't know anybody in Sheffield. We were just I'd been in Sheffield for 2 years. Ben was from Barnsley and had been here for 2 years. You'd lived here your life, but you were long-haired metal kid. Can the image of this podcast just be the long-haired photo of Adam?
Have you seen that awful one that Jordan put on where I'd shaved my beard into handlebars? That
really made me feel ill.
It's brutal.
But it's just we didn't know anybody, and we just I was playing in the band and I was travelling around, and I was like, I want to do something. Like I don't know anybody in Sheffield. I don't know the Sheffield scene. Audacious Art Experiment hadn't even happened at that point, and I feel like it was like through Matt J and then introduced us like Sam Lenthal or something.
I don't know.
There was like I don't know how it happened, but we got introduced to like the Audacious lot before they had the space.
Yeah.
And then we both got spaces at around the same time, and everything kind of just the what I consider like the Sheffield scene of 2009 to 2012, 13 kind of kicked off from when both of Audacious and Tye Die got our spaces.
But I think it's easier to get to know people. Well, there's 2 points. I'd say the first one is that the internet meant, I don't think you can overstate the role of the internet when it comes to music. I think it's transformed all areas of music, and I'm sure of other art. I don't know anything about art, but I'm sure it's the same with other art.
That's all I know.
But the internet meant that we didn't need to know anyone in Sheffield to run a record label in Sheffield and to play in a band in Sheffield. You know, and we didn't know anyone in Sheffield in our particular scene, and we still sold out of our cassettes. You know, random people on the internet were buying them. People from, you know, there's somebody in Canada
who buys every single one of our cassettes.
Literally owns everything we've ever released.
Is that archivist?
And you know, we didn't need to meet anyone in person to do that. It was fine.
Do you know? Because I've been listening to The Butterfly Effect with John Monson, and it's about the porn industry. And there's this thing called I think it's called like custom porn, where you can write to this companies asking for your own porns to be made, and because like
porns.
Is that the
but basically these porn stars do it who are between the age of teens to MILFs, so like 20 and 30-year-olds.
What, is a 30-year-old a MILF now?
Yeah, technically, like in porn you can make and sorry but it's really interesting because one guy from Norway, I've not finished the whole thing yet, but basically wants to burn his stamp collection, this massive stamp collection, and he's done about 10 different videos of porn stars. There's nothing really happens, they just burn his stamp collection.
Burn his stamp collection?
Maybe someone's doing that with
Tye Die. Worth a lot of money as well.
You've been listening to this?
I know about this, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But maybe someone's doing that with Tye Die Tapes. Like,
what's the chap called?
Maurice.
Maurice. Yeah. I mean, it's probably just Maurice.
Maurice, but I know an American who says Maurice. So I don't know.
Space Cowboy, innit?
What?
People call him Maurice.
The Space Cowboy. I don't know the rest of it.
I don't know.
Just said Space Cowboy.
I had a second point to make. What were we talking about?
Sorry, I got to talk about
how we started a record label without knowing anybody.
The first one was about the internet. The second one was about actually getting involved in music in Sheffield, and the reality is, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere else, it's so much easier to get involved if you have something to offer. If you are putting on shows at any venue, if you have your own venue, if you have a recording studio, anything like that, if you actually have something to contribute beyond even you just know people, if you have something to contribute beyond your music,
that's true.
It is much easier to get involved, and that's the way scenes self-support is. You have people involved, and then if the people who are involved and are making music have these things, you know, can dub cassettes, can put on a show, can get you in touch, can do PR, you know, these kind of things. That's how the scene actually builds and sustains itself, and it means that you don't have to be reliant on external things, and that, you know, what we were involved in, and it's changed now, but it's a different thing, but it's the same principles. You know, it's people with venues, it's people who are putting on shows, who are putting out records, and if you can contribute something, it's very easy to get involved, because you just do someone a favour and they'll do you a favour.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like the reason that Tye Die was a thing for so many years was because of our studio, and because we were a cheap place that could put gigs on. We didn't have a bouncer. You could kind of do what you wanted, as long as you weren't a dick, it was fine. And we were able to help people out, and vice versa. Like, I remember that Joanna Gruesome show where the police turned up after like 2 songs of Satellites. Was it Satellites of Love, or was it the band Saturday's Kids? Yeah. After like 2 songs of theirs, and it was like, I think Sam or Luke was in the crowd, and it was like, can we go to Audacious then? And we just went to Audacious and carried the gig on there. Vice versa, we had a gig at the Great Gatsby that was also double booked for an art exhibition downstairs.
That's why we hate art.
Yeah, that's why we hate art. There was a Pete McGee exhibition downstairs, and we were playing upstairs, and a lady at the Great Gatsby came up and shouted at us and told us that we had to leave, so we just took the gig to Tye Die. It's like, when you have... We were very lucky that we found this very weird space in what was then a weird bit of town, and we were able to do that, and we were able to offer something that wasn't just 3 guys playing boring music.
I think we've probably got about everything. I think, like, if we keep going, it might peter out to then like. I think we've got
someone.
I think there's a yeah.
Well, I think we've been sort of like quite a few people.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for coming to my house.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's lovely. They've just done it. Yeah.
Liv, when I get Carl's shoes, I'll pick
Yeah.
I'm just trying to avoid asking doing the bit.
First you chuck your beers all over the floor.
Yeah, Carl, bloody hell, throwing your beers all over the floor.
Oh dear.
Solidarity, mate. It's alright, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So do you guys have anything you would like to plug?
We do indeed. We have a lovely new logo done by Lisa O'Hara.
Yeah, very good.
We're on everything, and it's all just Tye Die Tapes, TYEDIE tapes.
Yeah, that was a terrible thing to do.
Because nobody else spelt tie-dye wrong, so we were able to get all the domains. So at Tye Die Tapes on Twitter, tyedyetapes.com/Facebook, Instagram Tye Die Tapes.
Myspace is probably still there, to be honest.
We've got a website, but I did get an email about paying the bill, and I haven't done it.
So we probably don't have a website.
We may have a website. And go and watch the Yorkshire International Football Team, because we
sponsor them.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I could have asked a lot of questions that I've not asked at all.
Well, you have to get us back, Carl.
This is it.
After the redux, the revisit. Cool. We have plans for more
cassettes. Yeah.
Given that we did one last year.
One the year before.
And one the year before.
Both, incidentally, American bands discovered through podcasts. But yeah, so we've got some more cassettes upcoming this year. So we're doing a Sammartino with a live band release.
Whoa. With a live band? Jesus.
What do you play in that?
I don't.
You're not in the band? I thought you'd have you in the band.
Did you find Sammartino on MySpace?
I think he transcends MySpace at this point.
I think it was LinkedIn, to be honest.
Somebody did find him through LinkedIn. I'll tell that story some other time. The Sammartino live band thing, we have got Boring Men, which is our new band.
Yes.
Mine and James's little baby.
I want to hear some tracks of this.
We also have a Slushy Guts cassette coming out.
Which is Stephen Keane, used to be the drummer of Dignam Porch, who we met through our ability to put gigs on at Tye Die.
Exactly. Although we first put them on at the Red House. But
God, that was years ago, wasn't it?
Slushy Guts, Eternal broadcast.
Yep.
So we've got tons in the pipeline, and we're going to do lots of short runs, which will sell out very quickly, and I won't have lots of stock left over that I have to fire sale on Big Cartel.
And we're going to start accepting cryptocurrency.
Bomb.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, thanks for coming round, Carl, for part 2.
Thanks for talking, guys.
Hot Shots Part 2, I believe you can call this one.
Thanks for the pizza. Thanks for keeping the beers cold.
Thanks for putting them on the floor as well, Adam. I really appreciate that. Testing out my laminate.
Yeah.
And it was much appreciated. Just come and talk. And that's it. We're there. You're at the end. Again, thank you for everyone who's listened. Also, thanks to Adam, who's provided a lot of tech support on this episode and has also done a lot of editing and production work on the interviews themselves. Just a very quick, the gig listings for the next few weeks at Delicious Clam. On the 27th of April, there is Beach Tape and Human Cell. On the 29th, this is a Lughole show, I believe. There is Eka Booba, The Cellar Toys, Polluted Brain and Pleasant Boys. And then on the 12th of May, there is David West, Structure, and Sammartino. I think that's everything. I can give you a proper list of everything else coming up. Please come down and support the space. If not, if you can't do that, then please go online and have a look and try and pick up something online. There's lots to go at. I will now leave you. I'll leave you with two things. One, this bit I call audio. Adam broke a load of beer bottles trying to get some out of the fridge, so I'll leave you with the audio of that, and which will then lead into the Burgheist song "Losing Weight," which is Adam James's old band. Which, if you go back all the way back to the start of the podcast, they talk about in the first interview. And we'll leave, and I will see you in probably about a week's time by the time this comes out for the May gig listings. I'm going to try, because I need to get it out before the start of May, because I'm away on the May bank holiday weekend, so it'll be out before then. And then I'll be back with a brand new interview in the middle of May. I'm sorry for the kind of slapdash, kind of not being on a confirmed date just yet. I'm still kind of getting, as you can probably tell, I'm still getting used to doing this and getting everything down. And it's until I just get a bit more organised, it's just going to be a bit all over the place. But just it will get there. We're still learning as we're going, basically, and I can only apologise for some audio problems or the problems with, like I say, with not really getting it out on a clockworky, strict, organised manner. And anyway, I will see you next month. Thank you for listening.
Go
on.
Drink.
I'm alright, thanks.
Do you want any condiments?
No, I'm alright, thank you.
Should I put it back in?
I'm hot as
I